Welcome to INFINTECH, where decision makers connect. INFINTECH is organized by Logate, your painless vendor for digital journey, in partnership with Mastercard, empowering connections, shaping tomorrow.
Dobro jutro, dobar dan svakome. Ne znam kako kome, kad sam pogledao koliko su kafe popili, mislim da je nekom još dobro jutro. No, druga stvar sam počeo na crnogorskom, jer tu su mu u backstage-u rekli sad će ovi Mađari da dođu, pa da svi znate da to razumem kad pričaju o tome. Prema tome, samo sam to hteo da navedem, neću prezentaciju na lokalnom. No, to je baš fair da se kaže, then I will switch to English. So definitely, when we are talking about the transformation, it's always pretty much of the buzzword. So definitely, I used to work for the Deutsche Telekom, as Ivica did. And definitely, when somebody came from Bonn, from the HQ, telling us, I am from Bonn, I am here to help you. And I hated this sentence. Because I'm not a helpless person, so I do not need help. So definitely I'm never coming to Crna Gora to help our colleagues. I'm here to support them and share our thoughts, share the vision. Because they are not helpless at all. So I put a few figures on the table, not because just of the sake of the figures, but very much to see and to show the complexity of the OTP Group. So we can see that we are present in several countries, especially 11 countries, with the very exotic ones, like for example Uzbekistan, where we are just started to learn the culture. The country is with a huge potential, but still started to learn. You can see that the total assets, we have over 100 billion euro, which is pretty much of attractive. So definitely we are becoming larger and larger, and the growth is very visible on the regional level, but beyond the region. This is a kind of explanation of the countries. Which countries, what is the contribution of country. And you can see that we are buying, we are acquiring companies, and we are selling companies. And this is pretty much of the hard process. But what I would like to turn your attention is that when we started to build our strategy, we were thinking about how the financial sector is going to look like 10 years from now. And I think we were able to put the right question on the table because nobody knows. Nobody knows. So instead of putting the bets on some of the technology or some of other things, we decided to build the strategy of capabilities. And having this very unfortunate situation between Ukraine and Russia, and somehow impacted in Moldova, it shows us that this is the reality. Because, for example, just to imagine to you that, for example, when this war started, that we have had 3 weeks to change almost all the Western technology what we were using in Russia. 3 weeks. When the war started, we were forced to move the overall bank in Ukraine within 3 weeks into the cloud. Not 3 years, not 3 months, 3 weeks. So these are the challenges that are somehow the part of the reality. This is the reality as per today. So definitely, as it was mentioned, we started to build the strategy of capabilities. I would just highlight a few words here, which was pretty much of strange for the bankers, being lovable. How bank can be lovable? But in my opinion, it can be lovable because if you love something, you can use. If you use it, you can trust. And if you trust, then you can use it. If you use it, then you can be in love with. So this is the circle, and this shows very much how we are coming closer and closer to the emotional banking. And you know, what is the reality as per today? Just one short story about my mother. When she received her driving license 50 years ago, she was even disturbed listening to the radio during the drive. What we are doing today? Listening Spotify, making phone calls, sharing the real-time information with the community, receiving the real-time information from the community via Google Navigation, Waze, whatever you are using, and in a best faith, we are believing the application, that this application will help us to get to the targeted destination. When there are some big political events in Budapest that week, I never use the same route to come home because Waze is advising me different routes. And this is the thinking, this is the very root how we started to formulate our strategy. And what's happening nowadays, that it's worth, and this is not just a feeling, to put into digital. So digital is not more something that it will happen, but it's very, very visible from the return on investment that if you are a digital champion, then return on investment will be much, much more attractive. So this is not kind of choice that you have to go there. And even you are thinking about your branches, most probably the best way to tackle it, to do the digital assisted processes in the branches as well. Not to design specifically something for branch and specifically something for digital. This is, which is very, very important from that perspective. The second thing that I would like to mention, there are 3 things I brought with me, 2 books and 1 Facebook post. The Facebook post is with Miha Kaufman. I don't know how many of you have seen this one. The famous quote, AI is coming for your jobs and also for my job. This was kind of title of Miha Kaufman post. He shared with all employees in the Fiverr company, and he just concluded with several messages. I will just highlight 2 of those. The average is not enough anymore. Everything which was easy will be done by AI. Everything which was middle will be easy, and we will be there to perform the impossible. And the second thing, what he highlighted, don't defend, attack. Don't defend, attack, because otherwise you will lose the momentum. The second book is Who Can You Trust? Suzanne also mentioned trust, and it was among the CEOs mentioned trust, how trust is important. She is first researcher, and I had the privilege to meet her in person. She's the first researcher of the trust. You can imagine the new profession, trust researcher, and she wrote this book, Who Can We Trust? And she started to deep dive of the stories on the internet, Uber and Airbnb. And for example, he came to the conclusion that what is the real root of the success of Airbnb? Because look, this is the most trustful relationship on both sides. You are entering into somebody's flat without knowing him or her. On the other side, I'd let somebody I don't know in my flat without knowing. And this is just an application which is the market cap higher than the market cap of Marriott, having all the assets. What drives this trust? Why this trust was able to be built? and how it works. And this is changing our overall IT digital journey because the trust was built on a way that they hired 60, not data analysts, 60 psychologists to analyze the psychology of the digital journey. Who is looking for what? And this was extremely important, that we need to think a little bit more out of the box, because AI is definitely delivering to us the exponential way of thinking instead of linear way of thinking. So this is exactly what we are facing for, and we need to be ready. The second thing, and I was amazed by the discussion on the leadership, and definitely I have another guy here with his book, that Infinite Game. And Infinite Game is that we are not football coaches. You know, this is very famous for football coaches. When we lost the game, then the football coach is coming and saying, guys, we have to focus on the next one. No, we have to focus on the journey. And we have to focus, and we have to know that the mindset, the best is not a permanent state. Instead, they strive to be better. That's something which should lead leaders, and especially in these very, very volatile times we are living in. And I'm just checking my timing. So definitely what we did, we started to build a strategy of the capabilities. The capability building is a key. And it will hit your organization. It will hit your agile structures. You have to have talents within your organization, and you have to attract your talents. You have to deal with the home office regulation, because these are the things how you can attract your talents, and we are facing it on a daily basis. What should we do? We need to exploit the synergies on the technological perspective. I will come back to that a little bit. We have to have a service-oriented mindset. It's operating model I wrote here, but it's more of the mindset that you have to recognize who is your customer. And still, in Budapest, when you are asking internal IT, who is your customer, we said we have no customers. But you have, definitely you have. This is the mindset thing. And the cybersecurity and operational stability. I can just mention one thing, that during 2 months, March and April, we experienced severe cyber attacks. Severe. It was a DDoS attack, and the peak was in Hungary. We were attacked, not only Hungary, because definitely most probably you have read some of the newspapers about the blackouts in Portugal and Spain, and not read what happened in France, but it was the same wave of attacks. And the peak was 500,000 IP addresses parallelly attacking us. Again, I will repeat again, 500,000. So this is, again, the part of our everyday life. So you have to be prepared, and you have to build your capabilities, because you cannot predict what's going to happen next day. Just to speed it up, education, it's extremely important. Unfortunately, we were trying to find the connections with the universities, but unfortunately, universities cannot follow the need of the current generations, current needs. So we performed the external and internal research, and this showed that there are 4 pillars of the capability: AI, cloud, data, and low-code, no-code. So this is something, and low-code, no-code is very special, because we would like to increase the ratio of female people working in IT, and low-code, no-code is a very good entry point for them to come in and really to deal with IT, to deal with digitalization. And definitely we build the Pulse digital educational system with 4 layers: awareness, know it, do it, and master it. And all 40,000 employees, for them is available to come in. And we have Eagle Journey, which is for the managers to teach them, to educate them about the AI, about data, about low-code, no-code, because otherwise we are not able to change. Every and each of our members needs to, our employees needs to understand at least the foundation of those things. How you should use data, why we are building self-service layers for the data, why we are moving into the cloud, what AI should deliver to you, and how low-code, no-code can help you to go faster, go better. And you know, we are in this conference here, we are talking about digital journeys and transformation, but nothing's going to happen without the backend systems. And especially in as many as banks I know in former Yugoslavia, but not only in former Yugoslavia, but all around the world, that the core banking systems are extremely obsolete. Extremely obsolete. 45 years plus technology, and the average age of the programmers is 63 years. So I think it is an operational risk. This is not something that we can avoid to tackle that part of the story. Therefore, we launched the core banking system modernization in Hungary, in Bulgaria, and most probably other countries will follow. Just 2 things to share with you. One is that we decided to use so-called hybrid approach. It is named ecosystem approach, because today's core banking systems are more like, if I'm using the example of the refrigerator, this is core banking system plus, because the banks were owning the code. Therefore, they put everything into the core banking system. So first, we need to start with the carving out many of the functionalities which are not belonging to the core system, and then to start the modernization, and then to make decision which part to be developed by us, or which part should be part of the new modern core banking system. And this is very much impacting our current architecture. This is our current simplified architecture, what we have. And the core banking is so much into the center of everything that it will force every and each of you to rethink the redundancies within the system, or within the architecture, where you have the gaps within the architecture, and that's what we are aiming for. These are so-called domain-led architecture, which is close to the buy-in, but we are not using buy-in, but somehow tailored on the OTP Group needs. So this is the architecture we are aiming for. And just to summarize, you have to think on a future agnostic way. I am not the native English speaker, because some of the native English speakers told me that the future proof is equal with future agnostic. Maybe, most probably they are right from language perspective. I'm using future agnostic instead of future proof, because for me, future proof is a big stone in the sea. That's future proof. But this is a monolithic way of thinking. The future agnostic is more how you can react, what your architecture is using. So this is more of being agnostic from the future perspective. Aim for competitive advantage, and think from that perspective how you can gain competitive advantage. Because this is extremely important to have this type of way of thinking, that everything must go for the competitive advantage, not just to deal from IT and digital transformation perspective with business, not to deal only with IT, but all together to have a big picture look. Capability building, I already spent some slides on that. Capability building is extremely important. Partnership is a key. I will stay a little bit with that because we have, as all companies, when you are looking for the CBS provider, RFP is launched, and you know there is a huge tender procedure by the procurement, but the last momentum, when we made the final decision, it was not price-based. We were thinking who can be a real partner for us, because such huge transformation is not just a matter of vendor management. It's more of the partnership. I mentioned case of Russia, I mentioned case of Ukraine, I mentioned several things. Without proper partnership, you cannot manage. And it was mentioned by the vice governor of Montenegrin National Bank, Central Bank, that DORA regulation came into the force. And everybody was kind of reluctant, DORA, again, something regulation. But if you are just open-mindedly read what DORA is requiring, you should do for your own self, not because of DORA, not because of regulator is asking you, but you should do for yourself, because this is exactly what I mean when I'm talking about the partnership. Innovation speed is inevitable. Look, I had also the privilege to meet Satya Nadella in Seattle. We had a very small round of people talking to each other, and he said that we are fully dissatisfied with the speed of innovation of Microsoft. Therefore, we are acquiring 300, 350 companies per year. Per year. And he said, look, and I said, how you can do the due diligence? And he said, we are not doing due diligence, we are just looking at the potential. And based on the statistical numbers, this is how we can boost the innovation. And last but not least, and remain humble. When I'm saying that remain humble, for me, this is not that you will do what others will say to you. For me, it means that you are open for everything, and most importantly, to spend enough time to find a proper question. Because what we are doing now, and also with my colleagues happens many, many times, they are coming to me, Zoli, we were working 3 weeks, 3 months on this answer, is it good or not? I said, how can I judge? I don't know what the question is. So, because we are in the daily bow work, find the proper question. And lastly, I hope that it's not visible, but I already have 2 grandchilds. And when first was born, I was sitting with my wife in a car the same day. And she suddenly turned to me and she asked me, Zoli, how you would feel yourself being in the same bed with a grandmother? And I would advise all my male colleagues, think twice before you answer, because the weak silence is going to come. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.